Welcome back, listeners. Today, we're diving into a classic yet tricky scenario. Those awkward moments when you forget someone's name in conversation. Erica, why does this situation seem to happen so often? And what makes it so embarrassing?
Great question. Forgetting a name is common because our brains prioritize faces over names, which are essentially arbitrary labels. According to a 2018 psychological study, nearly 85% of adults admit to blanking on names, especially during unexpected encounters. The embarrassment comes from social expectations. Remembering a name signals respect and attentiveness.
That makes sense. And it seems especially tough in professional settings, like conferences or networking events, where remembering names can affect future opportunities. Can you share how English speakers typically handle this kind of slip?
Absolutely. In English, people often use polite phrases to diffuse tension, such as, "I'm sorry, your name just slipped my mind." Notice how the phrase, "slipped my mind," softens the admission. It implies the forgetfulness was accidental, not due to lack of interest. This approach keeps the interaction friendly and constructive.
I like that strategy. Before we move on, what would you recommend for learners who want to sound natural in these moments?
Practice using authentic expressions like, "Could you remind me of your name?" Or, "I remember our conversation, but your name just escaped me." The key is honesty paired with a positive attitude. Let's transition to some language takeaways that can help learners handle these scenarios smoothly.
Let's break down some of the real English phrases from today's dialogue, starting with "in a bit of a hurry." Erica, how is this phrase commonly used in everyday speech?
In a bit of a hurry is a gentle way to indicate you're pressed for time. Instead of bluntly saying, "I have to go," this phrase adds nuance and politeness. For example, you might say, "I'm in a bit of a hurry, so can we finish this later?" It's useful in both casual and professional contexts.
That's helpful. Another phrase that stood out was contact details. How does this differ from just saying phone number or email?
Contact details is a collective term for all the ways someone can reach you: phone, email, sometimes even LinkedIn or social media. When you say, "Here are my contact details," you're providing a toolkit for continued communication, which is especially important in business environments.
And then there's "slipped my mind." It sounds almost poetic. Why do native speakers prefer this over simply saying, "I forgot"?
"Slipped my mind" suggests the information was there but momentarily lost, which feels less harsh than "I forgot." It's like misplacing your keys. You know you have them, but can't find them right now. This nuance helps maintain rapport and minimizes embarrassment. Speaking of nuanced language, let's look at how phrases like "around here" and "terrible with" add depth to everyday English.
Moving into phrases about place and ability, "around here" seems deceptively simple. How does its meaning shift depending on context?
Around here generally means nearby, but it can refer to both geography and social circles. For example, "Do you live around here?" asks about physical proximity, while "people around here are friendly" refers to a local community. The phrase is flexible and makes your English sound more natural.
Let's compare that with the phrase "terrible with." How does adding "with" after "terrible" expand its use?
Terrible with creates a pattern that describes difficulty with specific things: terrible with names, terrible with directions, or even terrible with technology. This construction allows English speakers to pinpoint their weaknesses, often in a self-deprecating, relatable way. For example, admitting "I'm terrible with faces" is a common, honest confession.
Could you give a hypothetical scenario where both phrases might appear together?
Certainly. Imagine someone at a party says, "Sorry, I'm terrible with names, but do you live around here?" This blends an admission of forgetfulness with a question about location, helping the conversation stay relaxed and friendly. Now, let's examine how these phrases help build fluency and confidence.
To wrap up, let's focus on fluency builders, those small but powerful expressions that boost confidence. Why is using phrases like "how's it going" instead of "how are you" important for sounding natural?
Using "how's it going" signals casual friendliness and helps you blend into informal conversations. It's more relaxed than "how are you" and shows cultural awareness. In fact, studies show that native speakers use such phrases up to 3 times more often in daily interactions than textbook expressions.
Interesting. What about strategies for recovering from embarrassing moments, like forgetting names, without losing face?
When you forget a name, combining honesty with humor can ease tension. For example, admitting "I'm terrible with names, remind me please," humanizes you and invites empathy. Research in workplace psychology suggests that vulnerability can actually strengthen relationships, turning awkwardness into connection.
So, would you say mastering these expressions can directly impact learners' confidence and fluency?
Absolutely. The more learners practice authentic phrases and handle real-life scenarios, the more natural and confident they'll sound. It's not about perfection, but about communicating with sincerity and adaptability. And that's the key to successful English communication.